on this computer. Yep. Okay, so today we're looking at the Studio product. Again, keep in mind that the Studio product is basically the platform capability of BPM, right? Now, you could consider that the rest of the application for marketing, sales, and service and banking solutions, of course, has somewhat been built on top of the Studio product, because the Studio itself contains the most common functionality across those products, right? Has some pre-designed sections that you could be using for account, contact management, activity management, employee management, and internal collaboration. But mostly it is just a tool to build applications with a custom purpose. So if the clients are having a specific need in managing purchase requests or travel requests or complaints or applications of any sort, you would probably go with the Studio product. Now, your intro to the client will start with this explanation. The Studio is our platform capability, has all the customization tools, doesn't have any specific CRM functionality for marketing, sales, and service automation, right? Now, the next area that you would probably, and the other thing that you need to mention to the client, that of course, since this is usually a functionality of free application, right? There's like not a easy way to show all of the capabilities. This is why today on your meeting, you're going to be presenting a slightly customized solution to show the client the capability of the tool. And this is where you're actually going to be switching to the requests section right here, right? And this is why you actually need to request a custom link from me. And you're going to be switching to the request section. So basically, this is where you mentioned that, again, in this specific case, BPM-Align Studio has been slightly customized to cover a specific purpose of our clients, which is handling their business trip requests. Now, the idea behind the tool in this specific example is that every time that you're building up an application BPM-Align, you get all the great functionality and templated features that it has. For example, even the interface itself, right? Where we can actually focus the user on the progress bar and the actions dashboard. So the next steps that are required from the user. Of course, the profile of the record, right? The ability to keep track of any kind of specifics and data attributes for this request, right? History with the tracking of the activities and tasks that were completed. And of course, the internal collaboration tool, right? The feed, the enterprise social network, where we can actually provide the communication capabilities for the users of BPM-Align. Now, this is basically the end result. Of course, in addition to that, the Studio product, of course, has the ability to easily provide the segmentation capabilities, so our folder functionality that is basically making it easier to work in the tool and navigate through different types of records that need to be processed, right? And of course, the dashboard capability to then analyze the performance of the application and of the users in the application, right? Covering all of our great and standardized features on this side of BPM-Align. Now, after this kind of a basic introduction, obviously you're moving back to the section and you explain that since Studio product is all about the customization capabilities, probably one of the things that we should be focusing on is how exactly BPM-Align is providing those tools for the customization, right? And this is where you say that we actually provide most of the customizations for BPM-Align are provided on the user and business analyst level or system administrator level, right? Where we're trying to give a huge time to value for our clients, allowing them to quickly design and set up the application without any robust development or hard coding, but simply focusing on the on tools for the customization that we have.
Mm-hmm.
This is where through the view, you're actually going to be switching to the section wizard, right? And you're going to be giving a quick overview of those tools. Now, the idea here is that anytime that our clients need to create a new application or a new section functionality, or modify the existing one, they would follow the steps in this tool, right? Following first of all with the general properties of the section. As you can see here, of course, we've got just the general name of this section. We can update the icon. We can use multiple edit pages, right? And this is just the start for the section design. Now, the next area for the section design would be the user interface itself, right? Where the users actually have the ability to quickly update the way that the UI is going to be looking for an existing section, right? Probably take some of the data attributes out if they don't need them. If they took them out by mistake, actually just put it back onto the page, right? And of course, if needed, to as well include a new data attribute. For example, a new field that is going to be provided for the user interface. Now, the huge time to value here is that BPM Online actually, when with this simple to use drag and drop tool, doesn't require our clients to have any coding skills, right? A regular business analyst or system administrator can actually quickly set these interfaces up themselves. And the system, while saving the changes to the UI, is going to do everything in the background, right? So if this is a new column, it will add it to the structure of the database or to the application. It would actually update the front-end JavaScript code that is really displaying it for the user, and everything is basically going to be done in the background for the user. So there is no need to actually follow any difficult procedures in customizing the application. And this is kind of a main page here, right? Now, of course, same approach we're following for all of the data tabs, and the feed here actually is being added automatically to every new section. But a good-looking user interface is only half of the deal when it gets to system design and configuration, where we say that the application should not only just have a good-looking user interface, but this user interface should also be interactive for the user, right? So it actually should provide them with the ability to update the data attributes that are actually required at certain points, right? Or see the data attributes that are required for the specific type of travel request, for example, right? And actually just to guide them through the data input. And this is where we actually can provide the functionality with our business rule management setup, right? Again, that is available on a user level, like business analysts. For example, we can actually easily set up the rules to filter the list of the cities for the input by the country of where the user is actually going, right? Or, for example, to make a certain field editable, right, in case there's another data provider there. So it's a simple if-then business rule setup, right? It's really not difficult to use at all, right? And the idea here, of course, that we can provide those as many as needed, right? And the whole purpose of this is to involve as less development resources as possible, right? Since usually other types of applications are kind of having a little bit different, more complicated side of things. And this is kind of your base page here. Now, the idea here is that besides the ability of setting up the user interfaces and having the ability to design the business rules, we should also be able to provide with our clients the ability to quickly set up some automation and some rules for processes. And it all starts with the case setup itself, right? Where we're actually providing the dynamic case management framework for our clients and our partners to design those processes and design those cases, really. So I'm not sure how familiar you are with the dynamic case management framework. I would probably suggest reading some uh, documentation on it,
Mhm.
right? But the idea here is that basically the dynamic case management approach stands that very often the users and the end users are operating in a very unstructured environment that is either impossible to completely automate using business process management approach, right? Or it is very difficult, let's put it this way, to define the right steps and the right sequence of steps, or we don't actually care what is going to be the right way of, what is the exact order of steps in which the case should be completed. We just need to provide a user with the framework of actions that he or she should be following, right? Just like in our business trip or trip request, we basically just need to provide the user with the scope of actions, right? So for example, we're reviewing the request, booking accommodation, booking the car rental, and notifying the user, right? But of course, even within this framework of actions that should be completed, we as well can set up simple transitioning conditions. For example, say that the office manager who's taking care of the trip request should confirm the expenses after they've been submitted by the employee who's actually traveling. So provide, simple if-then conditions as well.
Mhm.
But the idea here as well is that the dynamic case management framework says that every single task or action within a specific stage of the case that we can actually as well just simply update by drag and dropping, right? And moving those steps between the stages and adding new ones. Every single task in this per stage is actually a business process, but the one that is not quite well defined. And this is where actually it's every single point where our users or our clients are moving to the space when they are discovering their business processes. They have a better understanding and better um, description of those specific steps that should be completed. They can actually remove these tasks representing the framework and actually substitute it with a sub-process, right? Or, for example, if this is a more of a linear, more of a sequential step approach, for example, the approval process, they can as well use an embedded business process into the dynamic case management framework. And this is, of course, where we are providing more robust functionality towards how exactly the user should be operating, right? In this specific business process, we have a snapshot of an approval process that once we are requesting a business trip, right, we're going to be sending out an email notification to the supervisor of our employee, informing him about the request. We can then create the approval task itself, right? And based on the results of this activity, right, so whether it was declined or approved, we can push the approval request to the next stage, so to decline or to the approved statuses, right? And of course, inform the required parties and just, let's say, grant the access to those records. The idea here is that BPM Align with our business process management engine can actually combine different types of actions. Those are all represented, of course, on the left-hand side. The user actions, those that are engaging the user into making a decision within the process execution. So whether a user needs to complete a task, if he needs to complete a task, or answer a system question, create or update a record, or just send an email as well. But of course, we are giving a lot of system actions, those that are running completely behind the scenes and require no user engagement whatsoever, right? And of course, we provide more system actions than user actions, since with our multiple starting events and intermediate events, and of course multiple gateways, we can actually design very robust business rules for the system operation and require the user to be engaged only at those points where it is absolutely necessary.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the whole tool is actually an easy drag and drop kind of setup where we are just adding an item from the side panel, and the system again kind of just gives us the framework of what needs to be set up as parameters. But one of the most important things on the EPM Online process engine as well is the variety of the system actions, where we're providing basic data manipulation tools like reading, adding, modifying, deleting data, calculating formulas, changing the access rights, and of course, if needed as well, evoking a custom C# code for such actions as calling out web services to third-party applications to as well engage BPM Online into operations with other applications. Since basically for the end user and for the user who designs this process, the diagram here is just a visual designer, right? But basically what it stands for is that behind the scenes, we can see that there is a powerful code that's being generated automatically with every element added to the diagram, right? And basically every item is a chunk of pre-configured code that the user just fills in with parameters for execution. And this is kind of it. So you would, let me just finish here.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably finished on the business process management engine, right? You could give them a snapshot of how to set up the dashboards if they ask to. But your goal really on the first meeting with the Studio app is to show the general capabilities of the customization that we have here, right? And maybe qualify the client for in a better way for like what should be your next steps and what are their specific use cases and needs in a custom built application. Mm-hmm. So something like that.
Okay.
All right, makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great. Questions?
Yeah, I have two questions. Can we go back, please, to the one of the tabs, travel request approvals? Yes, this one. So yeah. Mm-hmm. So under approval, basically this is an automated process in a case. Well, partially automated, right?
Well, in this case, approval is a business process. Yes, that is very straightforward, very linear, because this is what approval procedures are usually standing for.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the second question, and I'm not sure if this is a correct question, our partners, so sometimes they do this on behalf of the clients, or this is strictly for a client to know how he can customize the system by himself?
What exactly do you mean?
Like, as far as I know, that we work with partners, right? And partners, they help our clients in customizing the system based on their needs or for adding different kind of add-ons, right?
Yes.
And as we're doing here, we're customizing the system, correct?
Yes.
So it's either the client by himself, he can customize the system using this process, or he can use the services of our partners and they will do this on behalf of the client.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, exactly. We are providing the same tools for both clients and partners to design the application.
Okay, yeah.
Question,
these are my two questions. That's it.
All right, perfect. Well, in that case, I'll stop the recording now.